Hi there, students. Yeast. Yeast. Okay, yeast is a microorganism. It's single cell, one cell, and it's part of the fungus kingdom. So yeasts are alive. In biology, they're part of the fungus kingdom, mushrooms and things like that. But a yeast is a single cell organism. And for humans, most commonly, yeast is for baking and for making alcohol. So yeast has been a very important thing in human development. Now, the yeast for baking and the yeast for making alcohol, these are one specific species of yeast, and there are about 1,500 different types of yeast. But there are lots of yeast. For example, Candida or Candidas. This is also another type of yeast. But it's something that produces fermentation to make beer, and yeast is important because the making of alcohol, if you put some yeast in water that is undrinkable, a little bit of yeast and something sweet or something with carbohydrate, the yeast ferments. It makes a little bit of alcohol and it makes the water drinkable, and it means that people don't get sick from it. Okay, so yeast. Then from this we have the adjective yeasty. So yeasty, something like yeast, resembling yeast. So it's got a very yeasty flavour. That's certainly possible. Something frothy and foaming, yeasty. But then you could also describe a person or a situation as yeasty. So if a situation is yeasty, it's turbulent. It's characterized by unrest. It's developing, because you put yeast in your bread and it develops. You put yeast with your sugar to make alcohol and this develops. So yeasty, without rest, agitation, turbulence. So the yeasty days before the revolution took place. You could also say a yeasty comedy, something frivolous, something not very serious, because it's always changing. You could define a person as yeasty. Somebody who's maybe immature, who's not very settled. He's a rather yeasty character. So he's always changing his mind. He's not somebody who is settled in their ways. Young people are much more yeasty, and you could describe somebody as yeasty, a yeasty character. But a yeasty period in history marked by change. So I guess the middle of the last century was a very yeasty period in history. It was where there was a lot of change, marked by change, full of different things. A yeasty person, somebody who's always changing their mind, who's developing, who's still not sure what they like. Maybe somebody who's a bit frivolous, insubstantial, they're restless, they're unsettled, they're always changing things. Okay, so yeah, a yeasty person, somebody who well, they will settle down, but they haven't settled down yet. Okay, so somebody who's a bit it's like they've got ants in their pants. They always want to do different things. They don't always think the same thing from one day to the next. So a yeast, A yeast is a life form. Yeah, it's alive, and it's a single cell, eukaryotic, and yes, it does grow. So, yeast formality. I think the word yeast for the organism, 5 in formality. You need yeast to make bread. You need yeast to make beer. But yeasty at describing a person, I think I'm going to go to 6.5. I think that's a bit literary in its usage. And then as to origin, okay, we've got an old English word, gist or gist, from Proto-Germanic gestus, and yeast clearly has been with us a long time. I think yeast has been with us for maybe 5,000 years. I think they've got evidence for bread raising things, and maybe alcoholic beverages 4 to 5,000 years ago. So enough anyway. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Yeast Yeasty.